The summer rain tapped gently against the windows of a Manhattan high-rise, casting a melancholy rhythm across the silent room. Olivia Hart, a 29-year-old publishing editor with fierce eyes and a guarded heart, stood in the middle of her dimly lit apartment, her hands trembling as she held a sealed envelope. She wasn't supposed to find it. The letter had been tucked behind a broken drawer in her fiancé's desk, hidden, forgotten, or maybe protected. But now it was in her hands, and everything she thought she knew was on the verge of collapse. 3 hours earlier, she had kissed Daniel goodbye like any other morning. He'd smiled, whispered something about dinner reservations, and left in his tailored navy suit, the same way he had for the last 3 years. Steady. Reliable. Loving. But now that damn letter had her questioning every single one of those days. She sat on the edge of the bed, the envelope still unopened. Her reflection stared back from the mirror. Same messy bun, same burgundy lipstick, but her eyes, they were different now. Fearful. Betrayed. Her phone buzzed. Daniel. Miss you already, can't wait to see you tonight. Wear that red dress I love. Face blowing a kiss. She turned the phone face down. With a deep breath, she broke the seal. To whoever finds this. If Olivia ever reads this, then I failed to destroy it in time. But I owe someone the truth. I can't go on like this anymore. Her heart dropped. The handwriting was Daniel's. There was no denying that. Curve of his R's. The way he crossed his T's. She had edited enough of his writing to know. There's someone else. And it wasn't supposed to happen. But I fell in love. Not just lust, though God knows there was plenty of that. But love. The kind that shakes you up and makes everything else feel like a lie. She blinked. Hard. I never meant to hurt Olivia. I still love her in my own way. But I can't keep pretending. She deserves more than half-truths and stolen kisses. I tried to choose. I really did. But every time I see her, I remember what it's like to be seen, truly seen. And it's not Olivia who sees me like that anymore. The room blurred as tears pooled in her eyes. Her body stiffened. Her heart cracked. He didn't say the name. Not in the first half. But the rest of the letter wasn't what shattered her. It was the small photo paperclip to the back. A woman. Mid-30s. Bronze skin. Sharp cheekbones. And Daniel, shirtless, kissing her neck, his hands tracing her bare back. Intimate. Real. Her stomach turned. She had seen that necklace before. The same one on the woman's collarbone. Worn at a company party 6 months ago. Olivia had even complimented her. Her name was Camille. Camille Winters. Daniel's client. A married client. And suddenly everything clicked. Late nights. Client dinners. Mysterious texts. That one time he came home smelling like Chanel and sweat. The rage came in waves. Quiet then volcanic. Her hands curled into fists. Her legs trembled. And then silence. No screams. No dramatic smashing of glass. Just a woman standing in the ruins of a love story she didn't know was fiction. The irony? They were supposed to finalize wedding invitations tonight. But now she was planning something else. Something Daniel wouldn't see coming. And if Camille thought she could steal what was hers, she had no idea what Olivia was capable of when she was hurt. Especially when she had nothing left to lose. The red dress clung to Olivia's curves like it had been stitched onto her body. Every thread whispered seduction, every inch of her skin declared war. The lipstick was darker than usual, blood red, almost vengeful, and the heels made her legs look like they belonged on a magazine cover, not a battlefield. But tonight this wasn't a date. It was a setup. Daniel had no idea what was coming. He walked into the restaurant exactly 2 minutes late, kissed her cheek like nothing was wrong, and slid into the booth across from her. His blue eyes sparkled with desire, his smile practiced and polished. For a man who'd written a goodbye letter to one woman while loving another, he was shockingly composed. "You look incredible," he murmured, running his hand across the table, brushing her fingers. She smiled, playing along. "Only for you." She watched him, every movement, every blink. How his jaw tightened when the waiter brought the wrong wine. How his fingers tensed when she mentioned Camille's name casually, as if it meant nothing. "Oh, that reminds me," she said, sipping her glass. I ran into Camille at the gym last week. She said she was taking a break from clients. Daniel's hand froze midair. Oh. She looked happy, Olivia added slowly, eyes locked on his. He blinked too fast. Swallowed too hard. She smiled again, a smile that was equal parts venom and velvet. By dessert, she had him laughing again, pretending the world hadn't cracked open that morning. But in her purse was a copy of the letter. And in her phone a scheduled email, time-stamped for 9 a.m. tomorrow, addressed to Camille's husband. Her real plan wasn't to confront Daniel. It was to expose him. But then something happened she didn't expect. As he paid the bill, Daniel leaned across the table, took her hand and whispered, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Olivia. You're the only woman I've ever truly loved." Her breath caught. What game was this? He kissed her outside the restaurant, soft and slow, like they were still whole. Like he hadn't written her off days ago. Like there wasn't another woman wearing his scent right now. "Come home with me," he murmured against her lips. She hesitated. Part of her screamed yes, for closure, for power, for one last night of pretending. But another part, the part still bleeding, wanted to watch him burn alone. She followed him anyway. The loft was dimly lit, scented with sandalwood and sin. He poured them drinks. Music hummed low in the background. And when he kissed her again, it wasn't gentle. It was hungry. Desperate. Like he was trying to erase guilt with every touch. He lifted her onto the counter, her legs wrapped around his waist, his hands tangled in her hair. And for a brief, burning moment, she let herself forget. Forget the letter. Forget Camille. Forget the pain. Just flesh on flesh. Lust over truth. Kiss deep enough to drown in. But halfway through, she stopped. She pulled away, breathing heavy, eyes locked onto his. "Do you love me?" she asked, voice trembling. Daniel paused. "Of course I do." "Then prove it," she whispered. "How?" "Delete her number. Right now. In front of me." His jaw clenched. And in that second of hesitation, that microscopic pause, she had her answer. She slid off the counter, adjusted her dress, and grabbed her purse. I hope she was worth it. "Olivia, wait." But the door was already closing behind her. As she stepped into the cold air, her phone buzzed. "Unknown number, we need to talk." "He's not who you think he is." It wasn't Camille. It was someone else. And Olivia's revenge was only just beginning. The message haunted her all night. "We need to talk." "He's not who you think he is." Olivia stared at the screen, heart pounding. The number was untraceable. No name, no photo, just those words. And even though every rational thought told her to ignore it, something deeper, instinct maybe, told her this wasn't over. She replied with one word, "Who?" No answer. Not for hours. The next morning, while sunlight crept lazily across her sheets, the reply came. "I'm his brother." Olivia sat upright. Daniel never told her he had a brother. He'd always said he was an only child, raised by a single mother in Vermont, no family to speak of. She remembered asking him once, years ago. He had laughed and said, "It's just me, babe. You're all I need." But now, another message. "Meet me at the old train station off 53rd noon. Come alone." She should have blocked him. She should have walked away. But instead, 2 hours later, she found herself standing in front of the rusted tracks of an abandoned terminal, wind slicing through her coat. A man stepped out from the shadows. Late 30s. Tall. Eyes too similar to Daniel's to ignore. "I'm Nathan," he said. Daniel's younger brother. She stayed silent. "I know everything. The affair. The lies. The letter. But what you don't know is far worse." Her arms folded across her chest. "I don't need your pity." He laughed bitterly. "It's not pity. It's a warning." Nathan pulled something from his coat, a file. Inside were photos, documents, copies of emails, bank transfers, alias names. "He's not Daniel Hart," Nathan said. "That's not even his real name." Olivia blinked. "What?" "His real name is Ethan Ross. He changed it 7 years ago after the FBI started investigating a corporate embezzlement ring in Boston. He was their lead accountant. The millions went missing. He disappeared. No one ever found the money. Olivia shook her head. That's not possible. Nathan opened a photo. It was Daniel. At a bank in Zurich. The date 2 years ago. He used you. You were the perfect cover. Clean record. High-profile job. No suspicion. But I think he fell for you. That wasn't part of his plan. She staggered back, the weight of it all crashing into her. The lies. The alternate identity. The money. The betrayal. Nathan stepped closer. And Camille? She's not just a mistress. She's his partner. They've been working together for years. Olivia felt her knees weaken. She had slept beside a ghost. I'm telling you this because I used to believe in him. I thought maybe he could change. But he can't. And you're not safe. She looked up, meeting Nathan's eyes. Why tell me all this? He hesitated. Because you deserve the truth. And because the FBI's reopening the case. They'll come knocking, and if you're still with him, you'll go down too. Her hands shook. Back home, she paced like a caged animal. The letter. The photo. The betrayal. The sex. The lie. The man she planned to marry didn't even exist. She opened her laptop and pulled up the scheduled email she'd planned to send to Camille's husband. She deleted it. Instead, she composed a new one. To fbi.newyork@agency.gov. Subject: I know where Ethan Ross is hiding. She attached Daniel's photo, the Zurich timestamp, and the hidden letter, the one that started it all. Then she hit send. 3 days later, Daniel was arrested at LaGuardia Airport. Disguised. Passport forged. Trying to flee the country. The news called it the return of the ghost accountant. Olivia watched from her couch, wrapped in a blanket, whiskey in hand. No tears left. Just relief. And silence. Until a knock came at her door. She opened it. Nathan stood there, holding a single envelope. It's from him, he said. From jail. He begged me to deliver it. She took it slowly, fingers numb. Olivia, it read. You were never supposed to know. But loving you was the only real thing I ever did. I'm sorry. For everything. She folded the letter, placed it back in the envelope, and walked to the fireplace. The flames swallowed it whole. Some truths didn't deserve to survive.